let's make some candles. I'm just starting off by cleaning everything from the last time I made candles. This table has a ton of scuff marks on it. It's not dirty, they're just marks from moving it all the time whenever I go to markets and stuff. Ever since my family moved about a year ago, my candle making setup hasn't been quite as good. I used to work in the basement at our old house and I had a whole room to myself, but now we don't have a basement, so I work in the garage. It definitely comes with some challenges because I have a lot less room and there's no heating or air conditioning, so in the winter it's freezing and in the summer it's so hot, which gets hard when you're making candles and the wax has to solidify and get to certain temperatures. But overall I can make it work, so I'm just grateful that I even have any space to work with. So you can see here I'm just prepping the jars. I make everything in small batches, but prepping and cleaning the jars is probably the task that takes the longest amount of time. I always make sure that I clean out every single jar before I use them because they can get dirty in shipping and I don't want that getting into the wax of the candles. Once the jars are all clean, I measure out the wax that I need for the batch that I'm making and I start melting the wax. The wax has to reach a certain temperature before I can mix the oils in it, so while that heats up, I just put the wicks in all of the jars. Different size jars and tins need different kinds of wicks in them, so I try to keep this as organized as possible so that I never mess up a wick because it can be catastrophic. Having the wrong wick in a wrong size jar can either start a fire or it can make the candle tunnel, so I don't want either of those things happening. Now it's finally the fun part. So once the wax has got to the right temperature, I measure out the oils that I need for the amount of wax that I'm using for the batch. I measure the amount of wax while it's pouring, and then I can mix in the oils as soon as I have that wax out. I mix it slowly because I don't want to bring in too many air bubbles to the wax. So now I'm just repeating that for the rest of the wax and oils that I need for these batches. When the wax has cooled down to a specific temperature, I can finally pour it into the jars. I use this tool and it helps me so much to not spill wax all over the place because when I started making candles, I didn't have this thing and it made such a huge difference, especially for the mini candles. I have to make sure all the wicks are set in place before the wax dries, so I use a normal setting tool for all of the candles except for the 15-ounce candles. I use chopsticks because it's easier since they have 2 wicks. Now the first half of those candles are done, so I'm repeating that whole process for the rest of the candles.